Now, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel G-Man Aviation. Now, in today's video, we are back in the flight simulator, but we will be flying the Darkstar plane. If you remember it from a few videos before, we flew across the United States from New York to San Francisco in about only 30 minutes. Now, in today's video, we'll go a longer distance, and we'll go pretty much the actual entire length of the United States. And yes, since Hawaii, Honolulu is part of the United States, we will be flying there. It is actually slightly further out than Alaska, very slightly, a little bit. So this is kind of the full length, and we will be starting in Massachusetts this time, in Boston, which is further than New York. So this is really the whole entire United States, including Hawaii over here. And we'll be doing it in only 53 minutes, while this would usually take like 10, 14 hours in a normal plane. But the Darkstar is not a normal plane. It's a plane that can go Mach 10. If you haven't watched the other video, I'll show how to get up to Mach 10. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's check it out. We will be stopping in San Francisco for some fuel, because I know that the plane can make it across the United States with fuel, but if we're going across the ocean, we should probably fuel up. So let's get into the flight simulator, and let's check out how to fly all the way to Honolulu in 53 minutes. Let's go. So here we are on the ground on the runway of Boston's airport here. We are in our Darkstar plane, as you can see here. We have, of course, if you remember the plane from our previous video, it's the interesting one where there's kind of a whole visor in front of us where we can't see. But we also have the Mach counter that does go up all the way to 10 Mach 10. So this plane is actually included for free in the Microsoft Flight Simulator base game. We almost got run over there. You just have to download the Maverick pack. It's free on the store. We're getting absolutely demolished. We should probably get out of here before I get hit by one more little general aviation plane. So let's take off, and let's see how far. You can see already on the map how far this trip will actually be. This is as far out as the map zooms out, and you can see that's only barely any part of our trip. So let's get into it. Let's take off. Let's see how we do. All right, so now we're gonna start spooling up with the plane. Put the engines to full, and we'll actually put on our full thrust. Our afterburners are now on. We're now taking off here. We are at 140 knots. Absolutely flying. Let's just take off here. I think that's good enough. Ooh, that is... Wow, this plane has an awful takeoff rate here. Barely getting off the ground. Come on, plane. Plane, you gotta get off the ground. Oh god, the Darkstar. Okay, 200 knots to get off the ground. That is crazy. Alright, but now here we are. You can see we have a camera underneath us because we can't see. But now we're already gonna start our base turn to the left here for our departure. And you can actually see all the Earth just getting smaller on our camera. That's kind of cool. So we are, this plane turns really fast. So of course it is a military plane. Now what we have to do is kind of just climb absolutely crazy. We're already at Mach 0.83. We have to stay on our path as close as possible here, and then we'll be getting to Mach 10, which the main way of doing that is just going to be flying all the way up to the top of this plane's altitude. We're going to go to about a few 40,000 feet, and we'll then be starting our way of getting to Mach 10. So we have to gain a lot of altitude here. So I'll see you when we get to 40,000 feet. Alright, so we are now at 40,000 feet, so we will be starting our way of doing the getting to Mach 10 point. So we're going to flip on upside down here, and we're now just going to push down. We're going to be wanting to stay pretty much just fully upside down, and we're just going to trade this altitude for speed. You can already see once we get to Mach 3, we have to put on the scramjet. So we're currently absolutely flying downward. We're already at about Mach 1 now. We're now at Mach 1. We're continuing through, so I'll see you at Mach 3, and we'll switch on to scramjet. Alright, so we're now at Mach 3. Let's get our scramjet on. I do not know what that is here. like over speeding somehow. So we'll turn on the fuel cell, and our scramjet, which I can, if I can find it. Where is our oh yeah, here, scramjet. We'll turn that on. Alright, so now the scramjet is on. We'll now flip back over. Alright, so now that we have our scramjet on, we're now flying back on our front side. Let's get back on course, and I'll start up the time lapse once we get back on course. So let's get back on course, and I'll start the time lapse. Now here we are at Mach 10, currently at almost the edge of space here, but we are currently now flying. We are pretty good here on our flight, pretty far ahead already. But yeah, we are going to continue through our flight. We're at actually Mach 0.03, which the flight simulator says, but the plane says we maxed out. But yeah, so we're just going to continue flying. You can see our plane is red. We have now hit the edge of space as far as the flight simulator will let us fly, which is how we just continue flight. So let's get back into the time lapse, and you'll see the rest of the flight. So now here we are, almost at San Francisco. We're going to now start our descent down into San Francisco here, because we are moving pretty fast. And you can see how quickly we slow down there. We're already at Mach 7. We're going to slow down here. You can see how slow we're going. We're going to slow down, then we're going to descend, lose our altitude, and go back into normal flying. So we're going to stop at San Francisco to get some fuel. And once we leave, we'll be starting our final leg of the video, going to Honolulu. So we are now at about 4 Mach. We'll be at Mach 3. We'll turn off scramjet, and we will start our descent, because right now we are still at the absolute height of the flight simulator. We can also start. We can put out the spoilers there to give a little more stop. We just have to make it to 30. We're actually going to now start our descent, just so we don't get too far in there. There we go. We're now starting our descent from the edge of space. So pretty good on the flight here. We are having a good flight. So so far everything's gone to plan. As long as we land at San Francisco and the flight simulator doesn't crash, we'll be all good to continue our flight on to Honolulu. But we are now approaching in on Mach 3. We are now descending, so we can not overfly it. Yep, we're now getting back into the solar system. Well, back into the Earth's atmosphere, I guess, whatever that is, not the solar system. We can already see San Francisco up on our map here, so we're going to want to stay good here. We are still descending pretty quickly, which is good. We are also losing speed, which is also good. When you'd be losing speed and also losing altitude at the same time. So we'll keep going. I guess we'll start up the time lapse again until we are close to landing. And now we are below Mach 3, so we will turn off scramjet and turn off our fuel cell. We're now ready to just finish our flight into San Francisco, and well, at least finish our stop. So we're now crashing down into Earth, so yeah, let's keep our time lapse going. Alright, so here we are coming into San Francisco's airport here. We are pretty slow. Hopefully we'll be able to land. We're going to put down our landing gear here. Looking pretty good. We got our gear down. But yeah, this is actually working out better than I thought for the landing. I thought we were going to overshoot. But we are actually completely fine. But we are now pretty slow compared to Darkstar standards. But we should hopefully make this landing slightly smooth. This plane is really hard to land, but we are pretty slow, so I do not think it'll take that long. We're not going to stall out, though. We do not want to stall out, which would be hard in this plane, but there we go. So we'll just come right in here, right over the thing. Oh, boy. Yep, that is Darkstar landing there. And we really don't need to see that. But yeah, you can see how the 3Gs, we did an awful landing, but we are here on the ground in San Francisco. It's been about, I don't know how long, we haven't really been timing it, but we have here, this is our first fuel stop, well, our only fuel stop, our first stop, I guess. But it is actually a pretty good landing here. We are on the ground. Let's just fuel up here. We'll just do it through here. You see, we used almost our entire fuel there, so we'll just put it back up to full, and we'll take off again. We're already at 99%. This plane uses a lot of fuel. So, yeah, let's take off here. We'll go back on full afterburner, and we'll take off. Woo! We're, like, sliding off the runway here. But here we are. We're going for the takeoff here. Hopefully we're good. Yeah, there we go. A little laggy here. Very, very laggy. Wow. Lots of lag. I think the flight simulator was trying to load in like all of California at once there, which is not necessary because we're only staying for a little bit. Only staying for a quick stop by, fuel stop. So we are fueled up and ready to go. Put the gear up. Don't need that anymore. Now we're already going to fly our ocean route, which is going to be a little more boring than the way here. At least we don't get to see any, of the scenery that there is to see because we're just going to be over the ocean. But this is going to be pretty much all we're going to see for the next 20 minutes. Just pretty much ocean here. We do actually need to be doing is climbing to 40,000 feet or more to get back into Mach 10. So let's just do that right now. We'll start up the time lapse we'll just start up the time lapse for the rest of the flight. So I would probably come back near Hawaii. We are actually gonna have to slew mode here. Yeah, I know, cheating. But we do actually have to. We're about to crash into the water before we reach Mach 3, which we do not want. So just we accidentally. That was probably my bad, not going high enough. But honestly, we're about to reach Mach 3, so we're gonna wait until we reach Mach 3, and then we'll start back up the time lapse. But yeah, we're pretty good on our flight so far. We're about to reach Mach 3, which means we'll flip back over, turn on the scramjet, and we'll be all ready for our next leg on over to Honolulu. So yeah, we're about to reach Mach 3 here. Very, very close. Go back into the cockpit. Yeah, there we go. We're on 3, so fuel cell on, and then scramjet. So, and then we turn over, we flip ourselves over, and let the rest of the flight work out as planned. We flip back over, and we let us continue. So, here we go. Hopefully we do not crash into the water here. That would be mighty embarrassing. Yeah, we're about to. Gotta cheat ourselves back up again. Just some of the ways of the flight simulator sometimes being weird. But there we go. We are now at Mach 2.5. We'll gain that speed back. There we go. And we should be ready to start our next flight, our next leg. So we'll see you near Honolulu. We had a little trouble reaching Mach 3 there. We're now finally on Mach 3, and we are now ready to start the rest of our flight. So that was kind of weird, but that's why we had to cheat a little bit there, getting us up. But yeah, so let's continue our flight down to Honolulu. So now here we are approaching Honolulu. We kind of have to descend quickly here. We kind of are about to overfly it. Pretty much my bad, because we were I was kind of getting distracted here, but we'll hopefully get down pretty nicely before we overfly. If not, we are over ocean, so it shouldn't be too bad. But we are currently flying down. This is our destination, so hopefully we do not overfly it, but we definitely might because of just how high we're going. Pretty good. We should have descended a lot sooner. But we had a pretty good flight, pretty uneventful. It was a little weird at that first part trying to get back into Mach 10. It was a little hard to get to Mach 10, so that's why you'll see a lot of the weird jumps, because I had to keep slew moding us up because it would keep trying to crash. But the rest of the flight was pretty good. We're at Mach 10, and we're currently flying around. We're gonna do like a little fly around, which is actually working out pretty good right now. So we'll just continue descending from the edge of space here. But we are now at about Mach 4.3. We did it all within only one stop for fuel. So that's pretty good. And we're just gonna try to turn a little sharper here before we just floor. There we go. Once we reach under Mach 3, we'll turn off the fuel cell. But let's just continue the time lapse for right now. Alright, so this is probably the last part before we die. The engine's kind of set on fire, and we are now dying. No clue how this happened. You can watch back in the thing. I might put it on screen. The engines flamed out about halfway into our approach here. You could see while we were coming in, you could see my engines dropped in RPM all the way down to nothing. And they kind of just sat there. We did have a engine fire, and you can see that in our thing. We have engine fire, engine flame out. So our engines did get too hot and flamed out after our little trip, which is sad because we weren't able to actually make it to Honolulu. It's very, very close. You can see it on the map. It's right there. But we did eventually just stall out before we just died. So you can see I'm still on throttle 50%, but we have no engines right now. So that is sad. We'll attempt. Let's see how we can fly over to the correct place, I guess. We'll just try to get a little glide in. This is an interesting thing that I've really never experienced. I didn't know that we could engine flame out like that. So let's just attempt. Oh, we got our engines back. Yes? Oh, no, we don't. Yes? Yeah, no, our engines are still dead, but we will still try to land at Honolulu. This is kind of an emergency landing, even though it is our destination. We are still, you can hear the sound. That is the sound of a engine stall, engine failure. Our engines are currently 33,000 degrees right now. So they set on fire, and that is just our story here. Yeah, our engines are completely dead. We have no engine power. And this thing does not glide, as you saw when we just crashed into the water. We really had no glide anymore. So we'll just attempt to land here. We should be able to land. But yeah, this has been kind of a fun video. Well, pretty fun video. To at least fly for me. I did hand to fly the whole way. There are no autopilot on this plane. But we are coming in here now. Hopefully we will make a good landing. We're going to put our gear down here. Hopefully the gear doesn't slow us down too much. I really don't want to stall out on the runway, but we have no engine power. So there's going to be an engine failure landing, which is interesting. Never done that in this plane before. But I have some experience with just running engine failures in the simulator. But here we go. We are now approaching. We're going to land a little early because we have no speed. But there you go. We have now just touched down in Honolulu. We have made it. Very, very nice that we have arrived at our destination. That was a bad landing, but most of this plane's landings are bad. Once again, we do have zero engine. Like, absolutely no engine. It was an engine flame out. Way too hot, sadly. So, very interesting, but it was a fun flight from the entire cross the country, pretty much. So here we are, arrived in Honolulu about 50 to an hour minutes later. So it was pretty fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. And thanks so much again for watching. Have a great day.